and Tonya are my morning coffee.
Well, good morning, good people, and happy February. Welcome to Black History Month on My Morning Coffee. And as usual, we always keep the conversation hot, bold, organic, and full of flavor. Today, we will not disappoint with our amazing guest, Erika Bryant. And there's so many things about her that I cannot wait for you guys to all learn. But we're going to start like we always do, jump into what's in your cup. Miss Bryant, can we start with you and you let us know what's in your cup? What have you been up to? And how have you been?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I have in my little cup here a really beautiful mug that one of my girlfriends got me. Just warm lemon water. You know, I'm not a coffee drinker. Can't do coffee in the morning or in life. It doesn't agree with my body. It makes me stay up for days on end. And so lemon water just to kind of keep my stomach in my pH balance and all of my, the alkaline, body is important. So I just do that in the morning. I'm not a breakfast girl or any of that. I just keep it really simple until about 12 or 1, and then I eat something.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So your girlfriend that got you the mug, was it for something special or just because people love Miss Erika?
I don't know about that, but it was a Christmas gift from my friend Gina. And the cup says, I'm compassionate, I'm generous, I'm grateful, I'm present, I'm worthy, I'm allowed, I'm magic, I'm alive, I matter. So all these, I'm an affirmations kind of girl. I have Post-its all over my house, that have positive messages on them. So she knows me pretty well. We've been friends for over 10 years. We met on Extreme Makeover, and she just got me a gift that was very fitting.
Very fitting, I would say so. So how's things been treating you? How's COVID been treating you? How's the world been treating you these days? How are you coping?
I am coping well, honestly. I'm alive, I'm healthy. I have not had COVID. I've had close friends and family members that have gotten it, and they recovered, thankfully. So for me, honestly, the break, like the world kind of stopped, last, February, March. And for me, I think COVID has been at least the time to myself, the time to be at home, the time to kind of unplug from the world has been a blessing to me. I know it's been tough on a lot of people. I have not worked, so that was like kind of scary. I worked for a period and then the show was done. So I can't complain. I'm very much the glass is half full of lemon water. So I don't really have any complaints, to be honest.
I love it. I love it. Miss Gia, what cup do you have today? What's in it and what's been going on with you?
Good morning. I have my signature My Morning Coffee mug, and I have coffee because I just needed some coffee. Let me have a little sip real quick.
Why do you need coffee? What have you been up to?
Unlike Miss Erika, she got this lemon water going on early in the morning, making me feel bad, but it's okay. I'm about to try that. I'm about to get up and drink me some lemon water in the morning. I really needed this morning because you almost was like a co-host list this morning because your girl overslept. Jeff had to wake me up. He came in there like, Gia, you're gonna oversleep. You're gonna miss your podcast. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And long story short, I have these little ailments that's been going on, and my hand and my ankle was, I guess, been really bothering me this weekend. And I woke up early this morning around 5, couldn't sleep because I was in pain. So I think what happened after I woke up when I dozed off and I started really sleeping good. So I almost wasn't here. So I had to, get it together real quick so I can come on here and be with Miss Erika, meet Miss Erika, learn all about Miss Erika along with our viewers and stuff. So, that's what I've been up to. I've been on actually grandbaby watch. So, we're having our grandson will be here soon, and we're hoping maybe today. Well, we got a text yesterday, or it was early yesterday, saying that the midwives had come to the house and she's gonna have the baby at home, and set up everything. So they thought the baby was gonna be here, was gonna come, but he didn't come. So we either said yesterday or today. We're thinking maybe today. So we're hoping today, 2/1/21. So that's the numbers we're trying to go with. So all our viewers out there, put it out in the air, 2/1/21, so baby Raphael can come. So that's what I've been doing. I literally didn't do anything this weekend. I know you're surprised, but I stayed in the house the whole weekend. And you were talking to Erica about COVID and how it's been treating her. And it's funny because, when COVID started, I still go to work. I'm an essential worker. So I was leaving the house, coming back and forth. So, but I think these past few days, I kind of was in the house, didn't go anywhere. And I said, oh, maybe this is what people are feeling like when I hear people say that they're tired of being in the house, because I was in the house for 2 days. So, and it was interesting because it was like, okay. And then I know the restaurants opened up this weekend, but I think COVID's gotten me kind of lazy now, because I had in my mind, maybe we'll go out to a restaurant, get up and go out. But then I was like, nah, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to be out there with people. So I think it's messing with me that kind of way. Like things I normally would get up and do, I was kind of like, nah, I don't want to do it. And then I think too, the rain probably didn't help either, because it did rain a little bit these past few days. Got you
acting a little antisocial, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm not, contrary to, people's belief, I'm not the real social person anyway. So,
well, the beard, he the beard. What's the shirt you have on today? What you got? Show us what you got.
Oh, this is one of my new shirts I made. Let me see if you guys can see it, because I'm all about supporting, uplifting, empowering. So I made this shirt, and it says "Empowered Black Lives." So empower Black lives. So this is one of my new shirts from the Mahogany Box, new line I'm working on. So it comes in red, green, and you can get it in gold too, or white. So that's all.
Matching that hot ass lipstick you got on this morning, huh?
Huh?
Matching that hot ass lipstick you got on this morning, huh?
Well, yeah, you said, you sent me Erica's bio, and I've been, I don't do much research, but sometimes I do a little something, right? So I was looking, I was looking out on her stuff, and I was like, and I saw the little promo you did. I was like, look, Erica, cute, look. Erica had a cleavage all out. I was gonna try to put me a little shirt on, be up there and stuff, but I overslept. So I was like, well, shoot, let me put a little lipstick on for Erica. I don't want Erica to be talking about, oh, Tonya, your co-host, girl, she was kind of looking toe back. So I put a little lipstick on for you, girl. Yeah. And also I got my little mahogany wrap on too. I had to switch it up because of Black History Month. So I had to bring some, little power, a little black power up in here today. So so this is what I'm going with. So this called me Sister Gia today.
You look great, girl. You look good.
Can't take you nowhere. Can't take you nowhere.
So what have you been up to, Tonya? And what's
so my coffee
cup?
maker broke, and I got my green tea.
Okay.
With my Sisters Empowering Each Other cup, because we are all about empowering each other. And I'm still on my tear about us not supporting each other as much as I think we should and could. So, I'm going to continuously be having that conversation. And we talk about this a lot, but,
yes,
it's not just us. What I'm realizing, it's not just sisters empowering each other. It's not just Black people empowering each other. I think as a people, we don't really support each other the way that we can. And I don't know if we've gotten a lot lazier about that, but even, our local businesses, people that we call our friends, are you really supporting what they are doing? Are you talking about it the way you talk about these stupid memes that get passed around? So those are the types of things that's been eating at me, but more in a way of trying to figure out, how do we do better? How do we teach people to organically and authentically support each other? So I don't know. That's just been on my mind, but
I know you and I, we talk about this a lot, and I'm glad that, you're still feeling the way you're feeling about it. And I think we should continue the conversation, because like you said, it's not really just about supporting Black people as a whole. Like you said, it's about, are we really walking the walk? We good at talking, saying all these things, throwing all these little words out, all this inclusion, this, I'm about, this uplift, empower, support. But are we really actually doing it when we're not on social media or throwing out or passing around these memes, like you say? Because these memes are more popular than some of our friends and their businesses and what they're doing. I see the memes more than I see other stuff. So and people get all into it, and then you see a whole, I can put up a whole thread of back and forth conversations about a meme, and you can't even get that about what a person's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right, we should, and I'm glad we will continue that discussion on our podcast too. So
I remember why it started bothering me. I've been doing interviews for candidates. We have elections here in the South Bay coming up soon, and one of the ladies who has been incredibly active, and she's running. There's usually not a lot of women that are running. There's always a pool of men, so very few women. She's running, and she was like, "I'm having a hard time with these people I call my friends to help me with this, and not even give money, but just share or." Door knock or make a couple phone calls. And I've also realized that when I keep talking about we need to teach people how to support each other, one of the things I told her, I said, sometimes you don't ask. You just find your friend's strengths and you tell them what to do. Listen, Heffa, this is what I need you to do, okay? I'm going to need you to call 5 people today and say this, or you send this email out, or, if one of them is social or one of them is really organized, here, you go in and organize the reception after, our meeting or whatever the case. So maybe we need to stop asking and just start telling people what they need to do. And if they decide they don't want to be a part of the party, then maybe they don't want to be a part of your circle. I don't know, but just asking and being passive about it is not super effective. I don't know. What do you think about that, Erika?
I think sometimes too, I agree with you. I think it's that we have to do part of the work for them because people are busy. People have their own lives, their own children, families, issues, all that stuff. So I think sometimes it's us maybe meeting them halfway, providing them with hey, can you repost this? Hey, here's a form letter. Can you just send this out to all the people that you know? Here's a link in a text. Just copy and paste it to all your people. You know what I mean? So I think maybe it's, they ask, but also we do a little bit of the work to make it easy. So it's like, it makes them more willing to say yes versus, girl, I got time for that. Or, oh, okay, I'll do my best. You know what I mean? It's, here's this thing. I don't ever ask you for anything. How about you help me out with this one thing? And I know for me, like I am not great about asking for help. I've never been, all I've ever had is me in a lot of cases, especially in my career. And so asking for help is kind of the thing where I'm like, oh, I don't want them to think I'm desperado or what have you. But I also had to learn that it's important to network and to really pull in the people that because the people that are in your circle do love you. They do want to see it, you succeed. But I think sometimes we don't give them the tools that they might need to help us, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
that does, and you're right in a lot of ways. I think a lot of us women who are movers and shakers, bosses, like you said, we've probably been doing a lot of stuff, on our own, and it is hard to ask for help and doing things because we don't want to appear as though, like you said, that we're desperate or something like that, or But I also agree with you. I think it is about now being intentional and telling people what to do and meeting them halfway, giving them what you need them to post or share or do, because sometimes I do believe sometimes people just don't get it. And I know in this it's kind of hard to believe sometimes, like how can they not get it? But some people just sometimes don't understand, don't know how to support, what support really looks like. So I guess it's up to us really to show them what it looks like. And, so Tonya, like we talked before, we just have to be more intentional about it and provide them the tools that they need and show them, because that's what it is. I think they don't know. It has to be seen, and we just have to do that. Maybe that might help.
I love that. So look, I'm about to get in Erika's business real quick because her business is more exciting than ours.
Right.
I want her to definitely tell the people where you are from, where you have been, and what you have going on now. Because I think starting from the beginning is important. I know, right? But you're a good storyteller, so Okay.
I'll truncate it a little bit. Okay. So I hail from San Francisco, California, the Yay area. I grew up in the baby.
Hold on. I got to take a moment, Lord. I got 2 Bay Area on the call, right on the podcast. Pray for me. Okay, go ahead, Erika.
I am a West Coast girl. But So from San Francisco, California, I, grew up there till I was 17, left, went to college at Clark Atlanta University. So Atlanta was my home for a lot of years. Graduated in 4 years from there and stayed beyond that, was in the music business actually for pretty much all of my 20s. So I worked at, Patchwork Recording Studios, which is now legendary, and anybody who was a legend at this point out of Atlanta, whether it be Outkast, Tony Braxton, TLC, Usher, T.I., like all of them all recorded their stuff at Patchwork. The list is like endless, and it's still a thriving studio. I think it's one of the only ones that's still standing. There were like 10 at the time, and now that studio is like the premier studio of the South. So that's a feather in my cap. Thankful that I had that time there. I also was an intern at LaFace Records when it was popping. And so I did that for 2 years, which was supposed to be a 3-month intern. And I stayed for 2 years because I just didn't want to leave. I, was interning for pretty much free. They gave us like a money for a MARTA pass, maybe $40 a month or something like that. And so I was doing a full loaded school at Clark Atlanta, 18 hours every semester, and working at Patchwork and interning at LaFace. So I was juggling a lot, but I'm a hustler. You know what I mean? I didn't have, money to go to college. And so I really had to grind it out and figure it out. And so I did the music industry for a while. Late in my 20s, I decided that I wanted to kind of switch into the television and film side. And funny story there is that I was not really wanting to be honest with you, but my one of my mentors, Curtis, who runs Patchwork, kind of pushed me out of the nest because I had really developed my wings there and really got to know what it was to run a business. I managed a staff of like 10 to 15 people, ran the studio, like I was his right hand. And so it was time for me to go. There was nowhere else for me to grow to. And he knew that. He saw some potential in me that I didn't even see in myself, I think. And so he kind of gave me a proposition to like leave the company, like friendly, or take a pay cut. And I was like, I'm going to pray about that, pray and fasted for 3 days. And after 3 days, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to just go ahead and leave. And it was the scariest thing. I decided to go into freelance producing as a PA. And so I left, this higher level executive-ish kind of position to becoming a production assistant in the TV realm. And, as a producer, you're walking on faith. It's a faith walk career. You don't eat anything if you don't kill anything. And so it was a huge decision that I didn't even realize what I was making, honestly, because I didn't understand the capacity of it. I always kind of had a safety net, a job where I was like, okay, at least I'm going to get a paycheck. If you don't work, you don't make money, you don't eat. And so left Patchwork, was PAing around Atlanta doing video shoots. Like, I did Sierra My Goodies video shoot. That's one of my favorite stories because it was a 27-hour shoot. And it was so humbling to go from being this executive to being this PA on this, television set, making like $100, I think, and $50 for 27 hours. Did not sleep. Got there at 7 a.m. one day, left the next morning, but it instilled something in me that made me go, you know what, I think I can do this. And, it was humbling because I was seeing my old clients that used to be, in business with me at Patchwork, and I'm like handling their bills and we're chit chatting it up and, sitting around hanging out at the studio. And here I am like, oh, can I get a bottle of water? Oh, can you pick up that trash? And I'm like, okay, God, okay. And so, but even though I didn't make any money at doing it, I was so on fire about it. I was like, this is something new. I'm learning and there's so far for me to go. And I don't know what that looks like, but I'm gonna just get in this car and go. So did that for a while. And then I also, in conjunction with that, I started working for Tyler Perry. I was his executive assistant for a while, about a year or so, right before I moved to LA. I've been in LA since 06, January 1st, 2006. And I, again, was still kind of working my way up, and I came here as a casting PA, and was working at America's Next Top Model and did that for 4 years, which is 8 seasons. So, and then decided to I was like, I think I want to produce. And so took a left turn and, began that journey. So I feel like I kind of started over 3 or 4 times. I'm like a cat with 9 lives, I guess, and as the road begins to narrow, I'm like, oh, what else can I do? And then I start doing this and going into other areas, which I think is what I'm doing now. And I just finished writing a book called Doing It Scared, which is very indicative of my life. It basically speaks to the point that, it doesn't mean that basically fear is something that's going to be existing regardless, no matter what you do. And so I'm the kind of person where I embrace the fear, I go at it and I attack it. And, I see fear as like this mountain, if you will, and you're here on the side of the mountain. And as you're looking at it, it's like, oh my God, it's ominous. It's huge. How am I going to conquer this thing? How am I going to, climb this thing? How am I going to accomplish this thing? Am I worthy of that? Can I do that? Will people hear me? Will people listen? All these things that kind of run through our minds when we're afraid to do something. And so the book speaks to acknowledging that fear, embracing that fear, and then conquering it. And I, in the book, talk about different scenarios where I've done that. So good times.
I love that. What I wanted to ask you, listening to what you're saying and understanding where we are right now with our young people, I'd say right before COVID, but we continue to talk about how our young generation is a little, I don't know, they think they get out of college and they should be getting $100,000 check, right? Entitled. Mm-hmm. You just told a story about how you climbed your way to the top. And you're continuing to climb. You don't rest. You continue to climb. You continue to grow. What is missing between our generation and the past generation on lack of understanding what that looks like? Like everything is not, I'm paying you 6 figures for you to do this small thing. Some things are a learning experience. Some things are just experience, life experience. And you had no problem doing that on your own. Yet we have a generation of folks that they'll not work if they're not getting that 6 figures or close to it. What is that about? And how did we get there? And how do we get them to understand kind of the path that you just spoke? Because we know that is really the only way that you have a sustainable career is when you have the knowledge and the fortitude and the grind to be able to do that. Like, talk to me about that.
I'll say this. I think that the top is relative to each person. As far as the generation goes, the younger generation, I think that I don't have children, so I can't speak to this with any sense of knowledge, wisdom, I should say. But from what I gather, I think that our generation came up and we had to kind of hustle and grind to get it. And then having children, we were, the parents like you, Tonya, and Gia, you guys are like, you give your kids the best because you had to struggle. So they had a more privileged kind of upbringing, not in a bad way, but just like they didn't have to grind it out the way that we had to. And so I think it's instilled in them as a young child where it's like, I had to go out and sell candy bars. I was going door to door at like 8 years old, selling stuff just to make some spending money so I could go buy some beads for my hair because I wanted to get my hair braided or something like that. You know what I mean? I think that work ethic was instilled at such a young age. And I think these kids don't have that because they don't have to. It comes easy. I mean, you can speak to that more than I can. What do you think, Tonya?
I want to jump in here, Erica, because girl, when Tonya started talking, I was like, I'm gonna let Erica go first because Erica's probably gonna say it, all nice and everything. But I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna chime in on that, my opinion. And you were right. We're from that generation where we had to hustle, we had to get ours. Our parents were, they wasn't just lavishing us with stuff, just giving us stuff. We had to go out and earn it. So we watched them go to work every day and their struggle. So we saw, okay, we had to do it. And yes, when you say, I don't have kids either, Erica, I have bonus kids, a bonus daughter and a bonus son. Gotcha. So, but I've been around all my life. I'm a godmother to, I have 8 god kids. So I've been around kids all my life with my friends, with them having kids. So, and I feel as though I raised some of these kids. So I can speak I can as a parent because I in my mind I parent some of them god kids too. So and you're right, these kids because we've always been brought up, okay, our parents wanted more for us, so we got to become adults, we want more for our kids. And I think what we lost sight as parents, our generation, we forgot about having to work for it, right? And so we figure, okay, we done made it. We got these good jobs. So, you know how we was feeling. Okay, I was able to move out the hood. I'm over here in a little suburban. Got me a little house with 2.5 kids, all that stuff. I have arrived. That's our mindset. So here we are. We have our kids. You know, we have Ricky, Johnny, Susie, and you know, and Lakita and Aisha and all them, right? And so we want to give them everything. We start giving them stuff. You know, it's like we don't teach them how they have to earn it. It's like, oh, well, you know, I want the new Jordans out. Okay, so as parents, we feel as though we got a good job, or we can afford it, or I'm gonna go get them the Jordans. Okay, so we start giving them stuff. So then they started seeing all this stuff that it became easy, I guess, to them. Oh, I want it, I get it. So we forgot. I think we forgot the teaching part, how to teach them how they have to work for this, have to work to have these things. Yeah, we got them for you, but it didn't come easy. And don't think that just because we got it, that's how life is going to be. We forgot to do that. And I think also too, what our generation didn't have, we didn't have the videos like they have now. We had our favorite entertainers and stuff, but we didn't see how they were living the way this generation gets to see how all these people live. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh wow, you know, oh such and such got this. I want to have that too, and they think it's instantaneously. They don't realize you have to work for it. And it's funny that you brought this up, Tonya, because I have some younger cousins, and they moved home back to California, where we're from, Los Angeles and stuff, but their parents had moved to Michigan, and they came back. And I remember that's when I had my house in Corona, and my younger cousins they were there, and you know, they wanted to buy a house. They were young, like in their 20s. You know, they wanted a house like I had. I had a nice, you know, big house. So I had to let them know that, you know, what you see now is from my years of working. Okay, I said, you don't see, when you were too young to see when I was in college struggling, or when I, you know, got my first job, you didn't get to see the struggle for me to get here. You just see after my hard work, oh, I have a house. So you're like, oh, Gia got this house. I want this house like Gia. But you don't know, like you said, all the candy bars I had to sell, how, you know, I lived from check to check, how in college I ate microwave popcorn, top ramen, all those kind of things. You didn't get to see all that stuff. You just say, oh yeah, but I've been going to work every day and, you know, working long hours. I ain't got no life. You see, I ain't got no man at the time. Ain't nobody up in here. This Gia by herself, because Gia working so much to get all this stuff, you know, and yeah, it looks good and everything, but it's a lot of work behind it. And that's what these kids, they don't know about working. Like you said, Tonya, they want to get out of college and get that, you know, make that 6-figure job out of college. No, you got to work. You got to start from the bottom. And Erika, you're a prime example. Here you are. It's very humbling to hear your story, because you were an executive, like you said, and then you left to go do something, like you said, a PA. And I'm always fascinated about people in your line of work, because I'm in a different line of work. So your work is glamorous to me. I have the dirty job. But it's not always
funny. It's not always funny.
What, you know, to see the stuff, you know, it's like, I always wonder, okay, what does a PA do? What does this person do? When I see movies and I see, you know, stuff, I see the credits, I'm like, what does that person do? What does that person do? When you talking about you was the PA, you was getting water for people. Girl, I don't know how you did it, because I don't know if I would have been like, oh, you need some water? Can I get some water for you? I don't know.
But see, I have a heart of service, I think. I think I'm a natural server. I have a natural heart of service. So I think for me, I was serving, but I was also feeding my passion at the same time. So it was a little bit of give and take there. And I didn't mind it, because even though I didn't know what was at the end of that rainbow, if you will, I was very much like, I just want to learn. I just want to understand. I want to be great at something. And versus, you know, I saw other people that were kind of in my age bracket, maybe a touch older than me, but they were like skyrocketing and doing amazing things. And I'm like, well, I want to be great at something, you know? And so I was like, well, I'm gonna just, you know, as you were talking about a moment ago, people see all that you have and they don't see the work that goes into it. They don't see when you're digging a hole in the ground, planting the seed, putting the dirt back on top, watering it, talking to it, living on it. Like all of that stuff is the hard work. They're looking at the fruit and they're like, I want to take a bite of this pear. And you're like, wait, you don't know how that pear got here, you know? And so I think, you know, it's important to really just keep all of that in mind. And, you know, I think the younger generation also, unlike our generation, I feel like because of social media and things like that, they're constantly comparing themselves to other people versus running their own race. We didn't have, Tonya was in the Bay Area same time as I was. I would never know Tonya. You know what I mean? We met here, 30 something years ago, but it's a thing of knowing that, okay, I am Erica. I am in this school. I am in this class. I'm in this choir. I'm going to do the best version of me that I can do versus trying to do my version of Beyonce, whatever that might be. You know what I mean? So I think it's this thing of lack of self acknowledgement and self-worth of like, I'm amazing. I am the best me that there was ever made. And I don't have to do what she's doing or have what he has, et cetera, et cetera. There's this competition that is, embedded as well, I feel like.
Yeah. Erika, talk to me about, really quick, we were talking about the younger generation, and you've had a lot of managerial experience and over projects, and you're producing. So I know that there must be younger people under you. And I love coaches, right? I love a good coach because they can teach and cultivate good habits into a player. And I look at you like a good life coach for this younger generation. Do you find yourself in situations where you're actually teaching the younger people under you, like how to matriculate through this industry, like how to do it great and how to do it scared?
I think that I lead by example, honestly. People, this whole era of like boss bitch and boss, all this stuff. I am more of a leader. I don't really refer to myself as a boss. Forgive my language. But, I think that, it's important to absolutely give back. And, on my sets and on different shows, I try to definitely instill, work ethic and the things that matter. And I do that by example. And, I'll come on set, and if, I'll do the same thing you're just talking about, Gia, if there's stuff laying around or things need to be done, I'll do it. I'll move chairs. I'll pick up water. I'll bring some water. And people are like, no, boss lady, don't do that. And I'm like, no, this is us. It's all good. Again, that heart of service kind of a thing. But as far as giving back to them, yes, I do sit with them. I, give them shots. I've given, on set, let's say for a show or something, there's a young girl who wants to, learn how to interview, and there've been several where I'm like, go ahead, go interview. And they're like, oh my God, I can't. And I'm like, here's 3 questions and you get to add your own 3 questions. And I'm in your ear the whole time. I'm with you. Just, you got this. And I'll encourage them along the way and things like that. So yes, and I'm open to, I'm like, email me, call me. If you have a question about how to negotiate your rates, like call me. I want to be that to the people under me, if you will, in this industry, because I didn't have that. I didn't have a mentor ever in my life. I asked a woman to be my mentor and she said no, actually. But, mentorship is so important, and none of us get to where we're going alone. Even though the road may feel very singular, we're all in this thing together. And I want to be able to give back what I didn't have, honestly. So, yeah.
Erika, I want to touch on 2 things, 2 questions I have. I want to ask you. One, I want to ask you about what you just said, what it felt like when you asked someone to be your mentor and they said no. What was that like? And then the next question, I'm going to put it out there because I have a tendency to forget my questions. And my next question is, I see that your career, you worked on some reality shows, TV shows. So I want to know, I want you to touch on, because a lot of the reality shows kind of portray Black women in a negative light. Mm-hmm. So, and that could be the perception. So can you touch on that a little bit too, after you answer the whole mentor question?
I asked this person when I initially kind of came to LA, and her declining had nothing to do with me. Now that I'm older, I see that it had everything to do with her. She did not feel like she was, even though she was, successful and doing well. I think that, she didn't want the responsibility of that. It can be a lot, I imagine. I don't shriek from it, but it's not for everyone. You know what I mean? Again, I can't impose what I think she should do, or what have you. So it felt, your question is how did it feel? It was disappointing. My feelings were hurt. I'm a sensitive bird. But it didn't stop me from, succeeding. It didn't stop me from working hard and grinding, and as time went on, I was like, oh, she wouldn't have been a good mentor anyway. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Some people have a ceiling in their mind of how far they can go. And so they project their limitations onto you. And later in the process, later down the line, years past, that is exactly what happened. And some of those fears that this person had were projected onto me. And I had to overcome that and do it scared and just say, okay, well, that's her experience. And I'm going to have to push beyond that. And because what God has for you is for you, and what God has for me is for me. And I can't, subscribe to what you think in your mind. I'm just going to have to do it scared and see what happens. Your second question about, what was it about? Oh, the reality TV piece. Ask me the question specifically again so I can make sure.
Well, reality shows, a lot of the reality shows sometimes were been known to portray Black women in a negative light. So can you speak on that? Because I don't really watch, I'm be honest with you, I don't watch reality TV. So not some, but not like the Housewives of Atlanta, Housewives of Beverly Hills, all that kind of stuff, Love and Basketball. I don't watch that. But I have watched America's Next Top Model. I used to watch that faithfully and stuff. And that, but I don't think that's to me a different reality than these housewife shows. But a lot of the shows like the Housewives and the Love and Hip Hop. I don't even know the name of the doggone show. Those type of shows have tendency to portray Black women in a negative light. And I'm not saying what our perceptions of Black women, because I don't want to say the show necessarily did it, but perception of the show, is that better? Portrays us.
I think it's kind of layered, to be honest with you. Reality TV is exactly that. I think, some shows, and not so much anymore, but I know that, in earlier years, it was very heavily produced where they were telling people to do certain things and things like that. I've never been a part of any of those shows. We, softly produce and kind of do fly on the wall kind of stuff. Meaning it's like, hey, so you have, Tonya, you were talking about Gia the other day and she hurt your feelings. So y'all should talk about that at this lunch. Y'all say what y'all say. And so I think, the portrayal part, I think it's not so much as that it's portraying. I think it's putting a lens on it and going, this is what you're doing, because and I'll say this, some people put on and do more because the cameras are there. You know what I mean? They feel like maybe it'll make their stock go up, or who knows? I can't speak to that, but I think that the television screen, as it always has been, is a vehicle to see what, what that person's experience might be. And reality is another example of that. I, as a producer, am very, conscious of how our stories are told and portrayed. And I think that oftentimes, and what you're speaking to, is that our stories are not being told by us. And so that's where some of that nuanced stuff is misconstrued, and can really taint the vision of who we are, because we are unicorns in my mind. We are magical, beautiful beings. And, and I think that, as you're saying, sometimes because the lens is coated or has a different filter on it, then it's not coming across as authentic as it probably should.
I want to piggyback on that. And man, so reality shows, right?
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend that I probably wouldn't be friends with if I went off of the perception of her on the reality show. I was like, oh, this bee is crazy. But our friendship has shown me that what you see on TV is absolutely not who these people are. But Gia, I wanted to bring this up because I don't watch reality shows for that reason. However, because I support my girlfriends, Miss Erika, I've been watching her shows. I've been watching her shows, and I even got my husband watching her shows. And I have enjoyed her shows. So I think it really comes down to the quality of the content. Content matters. We talk about that all the time. What is the intention of the show? What are they really trying to come across? One of the things that I do see different in Erika's work, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is there is a heavy lens of storytelling, right? And then getting to the conclusion and allowing you to be a part of that journey rather than them making up the story and putting out the story and pivoting the story the way that they want it to go, and then you happen to be in the room. So I've enjoyed more of her work because I've been able to watch a story play out rather than feeling like something, there's those moments where you're just like, something going on behind the scenes. I don't know. This is ratchet. Turn it off.
I
But
agree
I've
with
been
you, Todd.
enjoying it because we love a good story. So however it ends, it feels like there's an authentic ending. Like that's what was supposed to happen rather than we made something happen. Right. So I don't know. Talk to me about that, Erika.
I think. Go ahead, Gia.
Well, I was going to say, Tonya, and I like what you said. You watch some shows because you know your relationship with Erika, so you watch your shows because that's your friend and you're supporting her, and that's good, and we should be doing that. And when I say I don't watch, when I say I don't watch reality TV, I don't watch the housewife type reality TV because again, one of my girlfriends, she told me about a show. She turned me on to a show. Said, "Gee, you got to watch this show," and it's Married at First Sight. And I've been watching it, and I'm kind of like hooked. And so I'm just like, okay, but I've watched it because one of my besties, she said, "Gia, watch the show so we can talk about the show at the end." So that's why I started watching it. Now, if she would never told me, I probably would have flipped through the channels and been like, "Love at first sight, girl, bye," and keep on going, and stuff. So, that's good, and we should be doing that. So I think too, if we knew who was behind some of these shows, that might change a lot of people's mindset about the shows too. I think too, they know that some of us are actually producing and doing things in these shows that would help.
I think too, it's about you mentioned your friend Tonya, who's on a show, who used to be on a show. I know you're talking about. Imagine though too that it's literally a sliver. Like you only have like 42, 48 minutes to shoot or to show like 20 something scenes in an episode of a show, if not more, depending upon the network. And so you're seeing such like a blip of that experience. Mm-hmm. And if they pop off and run across the table and pull some hair and drag somebody, that's all you got of that person. But there's all these other sides to them. There's a full 360, three-dimensional human being that's there. And they understand too, I think it's a matter of having compassion. They're also on a journey of self-discovery themselves. Like my job as a producer, at least I feel my job as a producer, is to help them to tell their story in an authentic way and hopefully also elevate themselves. You know what I mean? Because anything you do, you want to evolve and you want to expand yourself, your knowledge or whatever it might be, to become a better version of yourself. And so maybe I'm a little bit more altruistic than, some other producers. I can't speak to that, but I'll say that my intention, when I'm on these shows is to really connect to the heart of who the human being is. And because they've signed up to do the show, remember, they're not recruited like in the Army. They sign up for this, they sign contracts, it's a whole thing that they willingly walk into. And so they have signed up for something where they want to open themselves up in a way that maybe they never have before. Their intentions may be pure. They may be all about fans and, getting more attention. Who knows? That's authentic to them. But it is my duty, I feel like, to help them tell their story in a way that is, one, authentic to them, and two, entertaining. Because I want to sleep good at night. I'm not one who likes to toss and turn and think about, should I have told her to talk about that? I'm very much, it's a collaborative effort. It's, here's what you signed up for. Here's what we are trying to do. Let's meet in the middle and let's figure out how this can, really benefit you in the end. Because you're doing the, and I've had really awesome conversations with some, really high level celebrity about that kind of thing. And, when you're in the throes of shooting some of these things, they're peeling back layers of themselves. And it's a place of vulnerability that's very scary, and so I'm there to help kind of coach them through those moments, and I think if the more vulnerable that I can be, it inspires them to do the same. And hopefully that comes across great on the screen.
With what you do with your work and your ability to tell great stories and coach people through doing it scared, how much of your own story do you share in your book?
Probably too much. I share a lot. I share a lot. Well, I think too, because again, as you were talking about earlier, it's people see the fruit on your tree. They don't see the planting of the seeds and the toiling of the land and the growing. And, you know, when a tree breaks through and the branches break through, when roots begin to grow and then the tree begins to prick through the ground, that's painful stuff. That's breaking of ground. That's like coming out of darkness, trying to find the light. Like it's a lot going on there. And so in the book, I do talk about, you know, my struggles. I talk about, I'm very vulnerable, I'm very open, about, you know, me being deathly afraid of leaving Patchwork. I talk about, you know, me transitioning out of doing casting into producing and someone saying to me, it's not something you should do, you know, someone, you know, that was ace boom coon. And so it made me question myself. And so it was that person projecting those fears again onto me that had nothing to do with me, but I adopted them and then was like, well, am I doing the right thing? Am I crazy? Can I do this? Like, am I allowed to go beyond what this other person has and they're so successful and it didn't work for them? Will it work for me? So yeah, I mean, I speak about a lot. I uncover a lot. I talk about where I come from, you know, from the Bay Area and, you know, in my household, and I touch on that a bit. And, you know, and it goes on. So, you know, I don't think anyone's story is all, you know, lollipops and gumdrops. I am very honest in this book, and I'm very proud of it. I think for me, it was a very cathartic experience and very surreal. I was reading it this weekend, like the final read through. Look how cute it is.
Ooh, I see you, girl. I see you on that cover. I see you.
So I was reading through this weekend and I just started crying because I was like, wow, God, like you have done something through me. I don't know who, if it touches somebody, I am so thankful. Like if it touches one and one person buys a book, I am happy about that, you know, but reading it from, you know, front to back and just going, okay, you know, during COVID, I sat down in last March. So it'll be like almost a year when it comes out. It'll be released on March 22nd. But I sat down during COVID. We had the whole lockdown and everybody was like, stay at home order. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take 10 minutes per day and I'm going to just write. I'm going to intend to write something under this doing it scared thing. Cause I had the title like 3 years ago and never made time to do it. And was just kind of always busy and working and traveling and doing things for my job and for other people that I wasn't feeding this. This is, you know, my career and this book are my babies. I don't have kids. These are my children. And so sitting down 10 minutes per day for 10 weeks. And after 10 weeks, I had a book. And of course, each day, those 10 minutes kind of bled into 2 hours or 4 hours or 45 minutes. But my only intention was to sit down at some point during the day for 10 minutes and turn off the TV, turn off the internet, all that stuff, and just sit and just write. And God just was flowing stuff through me. And I'm like, wait, I got to talk about that thing. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to share that. Like, I don't want to be judged and looked at, but it's like, it's my story. And why be ashamed of that? It's all good. All things work together for the good of those that love the Lord. So I am just, you know, I'm giddy and I'm excited and to see what this lens, you know.
Wow.
Erika, one of the things that people are most afraid of is opening their heart to love. It makes them very vulnerable. They're fearful that it will not be received the way that they're giving it off. Mm-hmm. Do you touch on that? Talk to me about your approach to love.
Well, I'm a lover. I love, 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 love. And I do touch upon that in the book. I talk about a situation that I was in many years ago, before I met the guy that I'm with now, Chief. And I talk about how I saw things and stayed in a situation that was not beneficial for me. So I'm speaking to it from a position of hindsight being 2020 and releasing that and, you know, standing in my self-worth, standing in my truth of asking for what I wanted. I think, you know, a lot of people are afraid of love because they're afraid to say what they really want because they're afraid of being told no. And, you know, if you don't ask, then you're never going to get what you want. And I think I was just not asking. I was hoping that the guy and men before him were mind readers and was like, well, you should just know. You should just know. You know what I mean? Like what I want. Like, obviously you have a mom, so you would know that a woman wants fill in the blank. Men are not mind readers and people are not mind readers. And so I think, it was about me really just asking for what I wanted. And as soon as I asked, it was given to me, and just so, yeah, I speak on love for sure. You asked my philosophy on love. I think you have to be what you want. You have to be the kind of love to yourself that you want to receive from someone else. I love the holy crap out of myself. I treat myself very well. I buy myself flowers. I, take bubble baths. I get my hair done regularly. I get my lashes done if I want to. If it's 2 a.m. and I want an ice cream cone, I go and get me an ice cream cone because I love me and I want to fill myself up. So that teaches other people how to treat you when you can do that for yourself. And so, like my man now, he's like, man, you does your thing. I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, so it makes them go like, I want to do more for you. I want to like you. This is how you're supposed to be treated. So I want to be a part of that if they truly love you, And so, yeah, love is everything to me, And if I think. Like, oh, how do you want to be remembered? I want to be remembered as a lover, that I'm a faith walker and that I'm a lover. I am a lover of people. I want the best, people to be the best versions of themselves. And if I can have anything to do with that and plant a seed where they walk away a little bit better than they were when I met them, what's better than that?
And she's telling the truth. When I feel like I'm about to do something not out of love, out of spite, out of pettiness, that's who I call, because sometimes you need someone to drag your ass back to love when you have these negative Taurus-like, womanly, you getting on my goddamn nerves ass moments. Erika is very much someone that will yank you back to the essence of love. I love that. So thank you. Thank you. What are you thinking, Miss Gia? You over there just listen, she is so hypnotized right now.
Erika, you've spread the love this morning. You really have. And I hope our viewers got some of your love. Because I don't know you as well as Tonya knows you, but just from our hour together on My Morning Coffee, I'm part of the circle now. I'm part of your circle. So you touched on. I'm waiting for your book. Your book is really. I think it's a good book. I can't wait to read the book. Yes. But everything you were saying, but I see why you and Tonya are friends. And you guys are phenomenal women to me. Just listening to your stories and stuff, and you inspire me. I tell Tonya all the time, even though I'm older than her, how she inspires me by the things that she's doing. And she, she's a person that she will, at least for me. And a lot of people don't do this to me. She has me doing things that I said no. And then I find myself doing those things that I said no to. So she's like she's like a drug, kind of like, like crack. You got to get a little bit of her in you, and then you messed up for life because you like, I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I talking all of a sudden? I don't talk. Why am I talking?
But you're doing it scared, Gia. You're doing it scared. You're saying no. Exactly. You're saying no because you're actually afraid. And I think that we don't often understand that we're like shying away from things, not because we don't want to, it's because we're afraid to. And it's like, well, so the book poses these questions about what are you really afraid of? And I ask those questions. I have guidelines and I have, different things, takeaways from the book where you're like really being posed and forced to face yourself in the mirror and go, why haven't I done that? Why haven't I bought that house? Why haven't I saved that money? Why haven't I dated that guy? Why haven't I asked that guy out or whatever it might be? Why haven't I tried that new career? It literally is a journey that carries you down the road. By the end of it, you are a different version of yourself if you do the work that's in the book.
And the reason why I was telling you I was out, because a lot of things that Erika was saying, I just heard myself saying those same things to other people, and just like we talked about relationships and saying what you want and how and how we've all had bad, with the exception of probably Tonya, because she's been with Ray with forever, but we've all had some bad relationships, and stuff. And you ask yourself, like we weren't asking the right questions. And I was with you when you kept saying, we think a guy should know he got a mama, he should know to do this, don't do that. But they don't know it. So you got to show them and you got to tell them. So just listening to you, that's why I can't wait to read the book. But and I, you guys are, both of you guys, I'm like, God, they just, is it time for me to write something? I'm not a writer, but I'm just like, just listening to you, because you're right, we all have a story. And our story should be told. And our story, we don't know that our story can inspire and motivate others. And that's the reason why, people write books and these memoirs and stuff, because for those reasons, I'm assuming. So, yeah, but it was great meeting you on the air today. Tonya talks about you a lot, but actually now to put a face and to see you, I feel like I can touch you now and stuff, it makes it a lot better and stuff. So. Yeah.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
So, Erika, tell the people again the name of the book. You can show them the cover. Make sure that we have a link on our My Morning Coffee page. We'll also put it on the Apple Podcast link also. Okay. And how they can follow you. What I did notice, I'm just going to put this out there. Your Instagram used to be private. And I was like, oh, she fancy? She letting people in her world now. Like what?
Yeah, so I had to do that. Let me tell you this, Tonya. Literally, this whole process has been me facing so many fears, me sitting down to write the book, me finishing the book, me saying, okay, I'm going to get it published. Okay, now I have to self-publish. I'm scared to do that. What's the cover going to be? I don't want to be on the cover. I'm like, I'm going to do mountains and like this really beautiful landscape of the sunrise. And my homeboy, John Good, was like, put yourself on the cover. He's like, you did it scared, like do. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, I'm going to put myself out there. Like, can I do that? Like, is that going to come off wrong? So this is literally me walking out all of my fears, me opening up my social media. As you know, we talked about this over a year ago. You got to open it up. I was like, I don't want people in my space. I don't care what people think. I don't want their opinions about me because they don't matter. I like me. I love me. Your opinion of me is, I can't do anything about that. And so I was always very, closed off from that. But I know in doing this book is, my testimony, and it is, my journey. And to share that, I have to be willing to be even more vulnerable and open my social media up. So I've done that. You can find me on IG at ebryant22. 22 was my favorite number. The book will be coming out on March the 22nd. It's called Doing It Scared. You guys can see that pretty well. It'll be on Amazon. And you can also find me on erika-bryant.com. Sign up for the email list there. And there'll be information there as well. But yes, please spread the word, buy several copies, give them away as gifts, especially to young people, who are in the business, and just, women and people who, don't even realize they're afraid. That's the part, that's the sticking point. It's like, you don't know you're afraid until you face it. You're like, oh, I didn't, 10 years, it took me 10 weeks to write this book, 10 weeks, but 10 years to sit down to do it for 10 weeks, if that makes sense. So,
hey, fun fact, Gia, your favorite Kappa other than Ray, with the tequila, Jimmy, that's her cousin.
That's your cousin, Erika. Okay, Erika, that's your cousin.
That's my cousin.
Tell Jimmy that he owes Tonya and I a bottle of that tequila. He came on our show and said, he's going to get us a bottle. And look, I still don't have no tequila in my cup. And tell him that I will come after him. I will hunt him down. I have the means to find him. Okay. And I'm not ashamed to knock on his front door. I would knock. Let me in here with my tequila.
I will tell Jimmy. And it's worth it. It's really smooth.
Tell cousin Jimmy, run me my tequila.
Yes. Vuelo tequila. I will tell Jimmy to hook it up.
It's so good.
I got you.
I love it. So give them your social media handle. Again, you guys go follow her because she don't open up to nobody, and she's open, so you better take advantage.
It's eBryant, EBRYANT 22. That's on IG. And then there's also a website, erika-bryant.com. The book is Doing It Scared. It'll be on Amazon March 22nd. And it'll be on ebook, or you can order a hard copy if you want a signed copy or something. I'll do that too. I'm doing it all scared. I'm figuring it out as I go. So, it's all It's all a new world for me. We'll see what happens.
I love it. I love it. So I want to thank you, obviously, for spending your Monday with us, your morning with us, opening
First day of
up Black History Month. Yes.
Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you. You guys, we'll see you back here next week. We have an incredible guest, but I'm going to keep you guessing on that one. And what about you, Miss Gia? What do you have going on?
Real quick, I just want to do this little shout out, right? The Sigma Eta Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, in collaboration with the Mahogany Box, is in Mahogany Wraps, is doing a hair wrapping contest to celebrate their root celebration this month. So the contest is going to be February 27th at 4 p.m. There's a Facebook link you guys can go on, and it's all about wearing your hair wraps, and they're gonna be judging, and whoever has the best hair wrap style will win a head wrap, a Mahogany Wraps head wrap. So I'm collaborating with that chapter of Zeta Phi Beta this month to celebrate Black History Month. So you guys go find the link. It's Root Celebration, Sigma Eta Zeta chapter of Zeta Phi Beta. They're in Long Beach, and they're in collaboration with the Mahogany Box. So we're doing it this month in February.
The Mahogany Box. I like it.
Love it. Love it. All right, guys. So make sure you go over to IG. You follow Miss Erika. We now have our IG page, so we need some friends. Okay, we need some friends to talk to. So it's
Yes.
My Morning Coffee Drip, the drip. That's coming soon too. And if you need anything from me, Tonya McKenzie PR or Sand and Shores on all socials, make it easy peasy. And we will see you guys back here next Monday. Yeah. Have a good one.